Alright, continuing chapter 76 of Children, Blood, and Bone, and we're in Amari's perspective. Zelly flinches as I comb through the final section of her hair. The way she squirms and writhes under my touch, you would think I'm stabbing her scalp with my sword. Sorry, I apologize for the 10th time. Someone has to do it. If you just combed it every few days. Amari, if you ever see me combing my hair, please call a healer. My laughter bounces against the metal walls as I separate her hair into 3 parts. Although it's difficult to comb, a twitch of envy runs through me when I start the last braid. Once smooth as silk, Zelly's white hair is now coarse and thick, framing her beautiful face like a lionaire's mane. She doesn't seem to notice the way Rowan and his men stare at her when she looks the other way. Before magic went away, my hair looked like this. Zelly speaks more to herself than to me. Mama had to hold me down with animations to get a comb through my hair. I laugh again, picturing stone animations chasing after her for this simple task. I think my mother would have loved those. There weren't enough nannies to keep me from shrieking through the palace. Why were you always naked? Zelly smiles. I don't know, I giggle. When I was young, my skin felt so much better without clothes. Zelly clenches her teeth as the braids reach the nape of her neck. The easiness between us falls away, something that keeps happening again and again. It's like I can see the wall building up around her. Bricks built from unspoken words and cemented with painful memories. I release the braid and rest my chin on her scalp. Whatever it is, you can talk to me. Zelly's head drops. She wraps her hands around her thighs and pulls her knees to her chest. I squeeze her shoulder before finishing the last braid. I used to think you were weak, she whispers. I pause. I wasn't expecting that. Of all the things Zelly's probably used to think of me, weak would be the nicest. Because of my father? She nods, but I sense her reluctance. Every time you thought about him, you shrank. I didn't understand how someone could wield a sword the way you do and still hold so much fear. I run my fingers along her braids, trailing the lines in her scalp. And now? Zelly closes her eyes, muscles tensing. But when I wrap my hands around her, it's like I can feel the cracks in her dam. The pressure builds, pushing against all her emotions, all her pain. When she can bear it no longer, the sob I know she's been holding back breaks free. I can't get him out of my head. She squeezes me as hot tears fall onto my shoulder. It's like every time I close my eyes, he's wrapping a chain around my neck. I hold Zelly close as she sobs into my arms, releasing everything she's been trying to hide. My own throat chokes up with her cries. It's my family who's caused her all this pain. Holding Zelly makes me wonder about Binta and all the days she probably needed this. She was there for me in all my struggles, yet I never got to be there for her in the same way. I'm sorry, I whisper, for what my father did, for what he's done. I'm sorry Enon couldn't stop it. I'm sorry it took us both so long to try to right father's wrongs. Zelly leans into me, letting my words sink in. I'm sorry, Binta, I think to her spirit. I'm sorry I didn't do more. The first night we escaped, I couldn't fall asleep in that forest no matter how hard I tried. I speak softly. I was barely conscious, but each time I closed my eyes, I saw Father's black blade ready to cut me down. I pull back and wipe away her tears, staring straight into her silver eyes. I thought if he ever found me, I would shatter. But you know what happened when I saw him in the fortress? Zelly shakes her head and the moment returns, making my pulse quicken. The memory of Father's rage flares. Yet what I remember is the weight of my sword in my hand. Zelly, I grabbed my blade. I almost ran after him. She smiles at me for a moment. I see Binta in the way it softens her features. I expect nothing less of the Lionaire, Zelly teases. I can recall a day when the Lionaire was told to get herself together and stop being such a scared little princess. You're lying, Zelly laughs through the tears. I was probably a lot meaner. If it makes you feel better, you did push me into the sand before you said it. So is it my turn? Zelly asks. Is this where you push me? I shake my head. I needed to hear that. I needed you. After Benta died, you were the first person to treat me like more than some silly princess. I know you may not see it, but you believed I could be the Lionaire before anyone ever uttered the name. I wipe away the remainder of her tears and place my hand on her cheek. I couldn't be there for Benta, yet being with Zelly, I feel the hole in my heart closing. Benta would have told me to be brave. With Zelly, I already am. No matter what he did, no matter what you see, believe me when I tell you it is not forever, I say. If you broke me free, you will find a way to save yourself. Zelly smiles, but it only lasts an instant. She closes her eyes and clenches her fists, the way she always does when practicing an incantation. What's wrong? I ask. I can't. She looks down at her hands. I can't do magic anymore. My heart seems to stop. Sluggish, heavy in my chest, I clasp Zelly's arms tight. What are you talking about? It's gone. Zelly grips her braids, pain etched into her face. I'm not a Reaper anymore. I'm not anything. The weight Zelly bears on her shoulders threatens to break her back. All I want to do is comfort her. Yet this new reality makes my arms feel like lead. When did it happen? Zelly closes her eyes and shrugs. When they cut me. It was like they cut the magic out of my back. I haven't been able to feel anything since. What of the ritual? I don't know. She takes a deep, shuddering breath. If I can't do it, no one can. Her words rip the floor out from under me. I can almost feel myself falling through the hole. Lakin said only a magi tethered to Sky Mother's spirit could perform the ritual. Without another Centauro to awaken others, no one else can take Zelly's place. Perhaps you just need the Sunstone. I tried that. And? Nothing. It doesn't even feel warm. I chew on my bottom lip, brows furrowed as I try to figure out something else. If the Sunstone isn't helping her, I doubt the scroll will. Didn't this happen in Abeji? I ask. After the arena battle, you said your magic felt blocked? Blocked, not gone. It felt stuck. Hello. Sorry, this is trigger. Blocked, not gone. It felt stuck, but it was still there. Now I feel nothing. Hopelessness builds inside me, making my legs go numb. We should turn back. We should wake one of Rowan's men and redirect the ship. But through it all, Benta's face shines through, overpowering my fear, father's wrath. I've taken back to that fateful day a moon ago, standing in Kia's quarters, holding the scroll. The odds were against us then. Reality told us we would fail. But again and again we fought. We persevered, we rose. You can do it, I whisper, feeling it even more when I say it aloud. The gods chose you. They don't make mistakes. Amari, I've watched you do the impossible since the first day we met. You've taken on the world for the people you love. I know you can do the same to save the Magi. Zelly tries to look away, but I grab her face and force her to meet my eyes. If only she could see the person I see now, the champion prevailing inside. You're that sure? She asks. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Besides, just look at you. If you can't do magic, no one can. I hold up a mirror, showing Zelly the 6 thick plates that fall to the small of her back. Her hair's grown so curly over the past moon I forgot its former length. I look strong. She fingers her braids. I smile and put the mirror down. You should look like the warrior you are when you bring magic back. Zelly squeezes my hand, something sad still leaking through her grip. Thank you, Amari, for everything. I rest my forehead against hers, and we sit in a comfortable silence, translating our love through touch. The princess and the warrior, I decide in my head. When they tell the story of tomorrow, that is what they shall call it. Will you stay? I pull back to look at Zelly's face. I don't want to be alone. Of course, she smiles. Something tells me I might actually fall asleep in this bed. I roll over to make space and she climbs in, nestling under the panthanair covers. I lean over to put out the torchlight, but Zelly grabs my wrist. You really think this will work? My smile falters for a moment, but I hide it. I think no matter what, we have to try. Okay, so we just finished chapter 76. We're going to continue right into chapter 77 in Zelly's perspective. But before you continue on, make sure you pause for your notes and everything. The sky lightens to pinks and tangerines as sunrise nears. Soft clouds move across the colors with ease, almost peaceful despite what today could bring. I'm eternally grateful for the Navy's armor when I grab the helmet that obscures my face. I put it on and tuck in my braids as Rowan approaches me with his mischievous grin. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to chat last night. A fake pout fills his face. If this was about your hair, you should know I'm an excellent braider too. I narrow my eyes, hating that the uniform suits him. He wears the armor with confidence. If I didn't know better, I would think it was actually his. Nice to see a day of impending death hasn't dampened your spirits. Rowan's smile widens. You look good, he whispers as he fastens his helmet. Ready? With a sharp whistle, he rallies our crew and everyone huddles up. Amari and Tizane push their way to the front, followed by Kenyon and the 4 members of his team. Tizane gives me an encouraging nod. I force myself to nod back. I interrogated Saren's soldiers last night. Rowan's voice rises above the sea wind. They'll be stationed around the perimeter of the island and within the temple itself. There's no way to avoid them when we dock. But if we don't draw attention to ourselves, we shouldn't arouse suspicion. They're expecting Zelly to storm in with a Magi army. So as long as we're in their armor, we'll maintain the element of surprise. But what about when we get inside the temple? Amari asks. Father will order his soldiers to shoot at the first sign of a disturbance. Unless we divert their forces, they'll attack the moment they see us with the sacred artifacts. When we're near the temple, we'll stage a distant assault to divert their forces. That should free Zelly up for the ritual. Rowan turns to me and gestures, giving me the floor. I step back, but Amari pushes me forward. I stumble into the center of the crowd. I swallow hard and clasp my hands behind my back, desperate to sound strong. Just stick to the plan. As long as we don't call attention to ourselves, we should make it to the temple all right. And that's when you'll see I can't do it. That the gods have abandoned me once again. It's when Saren's men will attack. It's when we'll all die. I swallow again, shaking away the doubts that make me want to run away. This has to work. Sky Mother has to have a plan. But the prodding eyes and anxious mutters tell me my words aren't enough. They want a rousing speech, but I need one myself. Gods, Tizane curses. We whip around to the small fleet anchored around the island coordinates. As the sun peaks over the horizon, the island materializes before our eyes. At first, it's transparent like a mirage out at sea. But as the sun rises, the island solidifies into a large mass of fog and lifeless trees. A warmth spreads through my chest, strong like when Mama Agba cast magic for the first time. In that moment, I felt so much hope. After all these years, I stopped feeling so alone. Magic is here, alive, closer than it's ever been. Even if I can't feel it now, I have to believe I will feel it again. I entertain the thought, pretending magic swirls through my veins, stronger than ever before. It would blister today, burning hot as my rage. I know you're scared. Everyone turns back to me. I'm scared too. But I know your reason for fighting is stronger than your fear, because it's led you here. Each of us has been wronged by the guards, by this monarchy that's sworn to protect us. Today we strike back for us all. Today we make them pay. The shouts of agreement ring through the air. Even the mercenaries join in. Their cries bolster my spirit, unlocking the words trapped within. They may have 1,000 men in their army, but not one of them has the support of the gods. We have magic on our side, so stay strong, stay confident. And if everything goes to hell, Rowan asks when the cheers die down. Strike, I answer. Fight with everything you've got. Okay, so we just finished chapter 77. And we're seeing Zelly again really take charge and take on this role and having to fight through all the internal struggles she's going with right now. So take your moment and highlight, were there any important symbols? What themes have we developed so far, especially in these chapters, before we go into another plot movement as we get closer to the island and see what goes on with the ritual. So pause here and continue on to the next video for chapter 78.